Oh, good morning, friends. Welcome. I'm glad you're here with me today. So today I thought I would create a video where I'm making this sweet little welcome baby card. I will be using some projects, or can't talk this morning, from some products from Pajama Crafter Stamps, and I'll be using the Savanna babies. And I've already used the giraffe and the elephant, and today I'm going to be using the zebra, and eventually I'm going to make a fourth one using the little lion as well. I've paired that with our beautiful sprig of greenery here from the In Our Hearts Always stamp set. And this is a very versatile piece of greenery that I can use in all kinds of different ways. And I like that it's this big curve. It's nice to nestle another image in there and kind of create a frame for whatever your main image is. I'm also going to be using there's 4 dies that come in this set. This is the scalloped border set, and we're going to be using these 2 in our project today to create ourselves a nice little scalloped border between our layers. You can see it here on my sample. And then I love this piece. This is our scalloped circle die. I love that we have this piece. I would sure love to have this one in various sizes because I think that's such a pretty edge. And you can see it here on this card as well. I chose some patterned papers from 2 different stamps or paper pads. I'm using the Spring Plaids and the Savanna Neutrals. And what I like about this design is it's a great way to use up those little scrap pieces. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. So most paper pads like this come in 6x6 size. Here, I'm going to go ahead and set these to aside. So when you have a 6x6 piece and you cut it down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, you always end up with a strip like this left over. So I always save these little strips and I like to put them to use. So I'm purposely cutting this so that this strip will work along the bottom so I don't have to use another full sheet of paper. And that's kind of my tip. This scallop border is a really nice way to use up these little scraps. So I'm also going to show you how I get my white scalloped border. And the way I like to do that is whatever piece I'm going to be using on top. And what I'm talking about is something like this where you want that white edge. I'm going to cut my piece down here first. But before I tape that down, I want to lay this piece on and make sure that it's completely over the top of my die. And it is, so I'm going to just go ahead and we're going to tape that in place and go ahead and die cut this one. So my paper is double-sided, and on the opposite side is this pretty pattern that I've already used twice before. So I decided for this one I would use the opposite side. As you can see here, it's that pretty plaid, and I do love this pretty plaid paper, but I just wanted to mix it up a little bit. When I'm making baby cards, baby shower cards, I like to make them so they can go either way for a little girl or a little boy. But these lend themselves a little bit more towards the pink, so I thought I'd make some that lean the other way. But both of them will be gender neutral. I'll be able to use them for either one. All right, so I'm just going to trim that on out there where my die didn't reach. There we go. All right, so now I want to cut my scallop. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to line up my paper here, and then I'm just going to take my die and slide it right up there so that it nestles right into that curve that I've already made. And now we'll just go ahead and die cut this piece. All right, and that's how I like to get mine lined up. So let's go ahead and die cut this one. For the next part, we will need an A2 card base, which I have right here. And baby cards are one of the things that I run out of all the time. I'm always joking that there must be something in the water here in Texas because we have so many baby showers at church. So a lot of the young people, I think it's the age of my children. It's just that a lot of their peers have gotten married in the last few years and now they're all starting to have kids. My kids are in their mid 20s to early 30s, and so a lot of them are just starting to start their families. So I'm just going to, oh, sorry, I don't have my glasses on. I can't see to snip that. Let's try that again. I'm just gonna snip that in. There we go. Clean it up a little bit now that I have my glasses on. There we go. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and poke out all of these little bits here. There we go. Let's clean up my space here. There we go. All right, so now we're just going to apply the pieces right here to my card base. And let's see how we did with lining them up. So if I square this up right here, we did pretty good. There we go, just like that. And we get this beautiful white scallop along the bottom. All right, let's go ahead and add these two together. Find my glue bottle. So I don't know if you can hear it, but it is just storming outside right now. The rain is coming down very hard. So I'm just going to line that up across the top and make sure I get my edges lined up. Sometimes you can get a little bit of shifting in your die machine if you don't have it taped real well, but we can clean that up just a little bit, that top edge. There we go. All right, so now before I put this down, I'm going to add this piece to the bottom edge here of my card. And the rest of this one is easy peasy, which when I do remember to make some baby shower cards, I like to make, I don't know, like a half dozen or so to have on hand. And there we go. Isn't that a pretty background for our images? So I went ahead and colored up our images in advance, and I especially wanted to talk about this piece right here. So this is just a greenery sprig of, you know, I can't find the word today, but I went ahead and colored it with some as if there's little buds in there. So, you know, you can have creative license with your stamps. You don't have to do them just exactly like they're drawn. Sometimes it's fun to just change it up a bit. And I wanted to add some color in there. So on these, I used this kind of peachy color to match on both of these. And then on this one, I used some really pale yellows just to kind of bring out that yellow. I'm going to pop this up a little bit. And the way I cut it out, that was something I wanted to talk about as well. I cut it out fussy cut around the edges, but on the inside, I wanted to kind of leave that white. I didn't want to cut all the way around the whole thing. And I kind of did that on purpose. At first, I laid a circle die right here and I extended out just as if this was a circle. Then when I set my animal in here, I decided where I wanted him positioned. And then I went ahead and cut this part out so that you could see the greenery. You can see I did the same thing on this one and the same on this one. So, but this stamp gives you lots of leeway in how you choose to cut it out. I've used it before where I have cut the whole thing out. going to add a couple pieces behind these little areas that stick out. There we go. Oops. I don't want to put any right over there. Just right here. So right over there on that edge where I don't want to put any, that's where my sentiment will kind of tuck underneath. So I'm going to try to leave that open for. Let's see. Just about right there. I've already put some foam here on the back of our zebra. And this was the very last bit of this foam tape, and I threw the roll away. I mean, it was the last little bit, and I'm so glad to finally get that used because the backing paper is so hard to get off of this one. All right, so my plan is to line his little tail up just right there with that edge that I cut. And there he is in his little spot. All right, for my little baby, I wanted to show you the stamp set. And in the stamp set, this right here, the little one, is all one piece. But on this one, you can see I used the sweet little one. On this one, I used sweet baby. And on this one, I'm using little baby. So I had to cut, I just took my scissors and I snipped the little and the one apart. So that's just another way to make your stamp sets work for how you want to use them. And I can easily, the way I cut it at a little angle, and I just cut it one time, one snip, I can easily kind of put those back together and still use it as a all one piece. So it doesn't ruin your stamps or mess them up or anything like that to snip them like that. And I think it's important when you buy a product that you don't limit yourself in how you can use it. Go ahead and do what you need to do if you need to put a little snip in there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to pop up. Let's see, I think I'm going to pop up the whole thing. So I'm just going to glue this piece down. If I had any pale yellow ink, I would go around that, but I didn't pull any, so I'm just going to go ahead. It won't make any difference. Just an added touch if I had it. All right. It's a little bit too big. All right, for the final bit, I'm just going to kind of slide that right under this edge. Just like that. All right, and there we go. Isn't that a precious little baby card? So we have our tiger, we have our elephant, and we have our giraffe, and now our zebra. And like I said, I'll be adding my little lion to this little threesome of baby cards. And I hope you like this idea. I hope you like the idea of coloring that with a little bit of color instead of all green, and just lining up your scalloped edge. And if you're like me and you need baby cards, give this one a try. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. As always, those products will be listed below the video. Hit that thumbs up on your way out. And as always, I look forward to crafting with you next time. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.